I'm Jeff Mixon, and this is another episode of the Civitas Institute's Talk of the State program. Joining me today is Jessica Custer. She is a policy analyst here at Civitas, and she's also involved in a new program, new being the operative word there, called the Network of Enlightened Women. And I had no idea what that was when we first talked about it, but I know it's something that the viewers at home would certainly like to know about. So what can you tell us about new?
Thanks for having me on this morning, Jeff. Network of Enlightened Women is the nation's premier conservative women's organization, meeting as a book club on college campuses across the United States. And its main purpose is dedicated really to fostering this environment for conservative and culturally conservative women. And it does this by particularly embracing femininity and masculinity, so your typical and established gender roles.
Wait a minute. Men or women are different?
Yes, they are.
It's a radical concept. I'm going to try to stay with you here.
It is, and it's an incredibly radical concept on college campuses that are preaching the exact opposite, that men and women are the same, and not only should they have equal opportunities, but they should have equal outcomes. So New comes in and says, actually there are differences, we should celebrate them and we should empower them, and then it does a second thing, and it rejects the liberal status quo that is on campuses by rejecting the victimhood mentality, first and foremost, and second, rejecting the single-minded careerism that feminist organizations, the Women's Studies Department, women's centers that are on college campuses, that's what they preach. And so New comes in and says, actually women may be pursuing an education and may pursue motherhood one day, and that doesn't make them less educated, it doesn't make them less articulate or stout. And
so that would be a choice,
right,
that women have.
That would be a choice that women have, and that's something that when you look at the history of the feminist movement, how it really began was offering those choices. I mean, when we saw the equality of pay movement and women's suffrage, you had the ability for women to choose motherhood and families, something that they are naturally inclined to do, or a career. But about 35 years ago, when this feminist movement began on the second wave, we see a break from that, and women are actually discouraged from entering into the family. They're discouraged from having children at an early age, and I don't mean early by 20s, I mean early by 30s.
Right.
And they're told if you do this, you're at a foolish dead end because you turn your back on everything that women have done before. So New is really providing a platform for women to speak out against this, specifically at the college campuses, specifically here in North Carolina.
Well, let's talk about North Carolina's college campuses. Do you perceive a need specifically for North Carolina for a program like New?
Yes. North Carolina is particularly set for this because there's nothing like this in the state. What you have in our predominantly very powerful and very well-known college campuses, both private and public here in the state, there's nothing like this for a conservative woman. She enters as a college freshman and she is bombarded by feminist groups like NOW and Planned Parenthood and NARAL. She's bombarded by women's centers that don't even consider that a conservative woman could exist at this point. And so New is starting at UNC Chapel Hill, led by Kelsey Jackson, and Meredith College, led by Anna Bevan Gravely, and then starting at NC State. And what we'll see here is that women are given an alternative, and they're given a second platform for them really to be educated and to have a diverse conversation that is different than the single-minded mentality that is preached from the left.
Interesting. Well, let's talk for a moment about how feminism has targeted the young woman on campus. What are some of the ways that feminism has presented, their viewpoint for college students? Right.
Well, just kind of what I was saying, it specifically targets college women and men too, but specifically women, because it comes in and it tells the woman that she has one option, and this one option is her career. And obviously it's assumed, if she's on campus and she's getting an education, that's her main goal. Mm-hmm. So not only have they come in and preached this and articulated, very well this message for women, but then they've taken it a step further with what, studies are today calling this hookup culture that is prevalent on college campuses, and even more so prevalent here in North Carolina. And what the feminist movement does with the hookup culture is it says that you as a woman, you have been the victim, and now you have the power to do whatever you would like without any regard for a consequence. And that usually has to do with relationships. And so women are discouraged from dating, they're discouraged from courting, or even just talking to men, and encouraged to instead pursue a casual relationship with no strings attached. And what we're finding is that women, specifically in college, are most vulnerable to this because this is the first time they've left their family, this is the first time they've left the community structure back home, and they're bombarded with a message that they've been told their whole lives is not good, and now they've been told it's the only option. And the result of this is women are disappointed, they're unhappy, and they're hurt, and these consequences are lasting past the next morning, and they're lasting for years later.
Yeah, I think the overall devaluing of a relationship, even the dating relationship, by the advance of these feminist ideas, has a negative effect well past college.
Yes.
And it's certainly interesting to talk about that. Have you had any pushback from the left here in North Carolina yet?
Yes, we have. We've specifically been kind of held up at Meredith campus, Meredith College. They're pretty adamant about not allowing us to start there. And again, it just goes to show you that women's centers and women's studies department only support one side. If they were really pro-woman, then they would allow for every woman to have a voice and every woman to have a platform. And so while the negative pushback is definitely disarming and frustrating, it really goes to show us how much more new needs to be out there, new needs to be pushing forward and advocating for this message, because stories of women that have been oppressed by other women are just astounding. And so there's a reason for it, and we try to move past the negative response that we've seen and really just focus on the overwhelming amount of positive support and encouragement from the stories of real-life women on college campuses.
So the diversity of thought at some campuses is only diverse enough to
on their side
to embrace one viewpoint. Interesting. Right. Well, let's say there are some folks out there that want to get involved and want to be in contact. Where do they go? How do they get in touch with you?
Sure. If you'd like to be involved in the Network of Enlightened Women, you can contact me here at the Civitas Institute. My email is jessica.custer@nccivitas, and I'll put you in contact if you're a student with a local meeting that is either starting at NC State or has already started at UNC Chapel Hill or Meredith. And then if you're interested in starting a chapter, we can also talk about that as well. And if you're an adult and you're a parent, and this is obviously affecting you, and you're worried about your children and worried about your daughters, there are resources that are available at enlightenedwomen.org, which is NEW's national website that you can find that can help you have these conversations with your children and help you move past this and really empower your student.
Okay, well, I certainly hope folks out there will take a moment and pass this information along. If you've got a young lady that's going off to university this year or has already gone off to university, it's certainly something to build on their foundation, because a lot of times the way I view the university process, it's designed to erode the bonds of the foundational learning that the student has from their home, from their family, from their church, and from their local community. And a lot of universities have done that for a long time, so it's good to see a little bit of effort in the other direction. So thanks for coming, and you'll be hearing from Jessica again in the future. She covers a variety of topics here at Civitas, but focuses a lot on social issues as well, so we'll certainly see her in the future. Join me again next time on the Talk of the State program when we discuss issues that are important to North Carolina and its future.